Hey, everybody. As you all probably know already, there was a situation at the Kansas City Chiefs parade the other day. I'm going to be doing a little bit of analysis on it. I'm going to say, first off, the NFL, I don't even know how many people are even questioning this at this point, is phony. It is scripted. It is rigged. These athletes are salesmen. They are basically pushing the agendas of the controllers, the elite, onto the population as programming, and they play fake football. So if you want to check that out, check out Jake the Asshole channel. It's probably the number one content creator exposing these fake NFL games. So check out Jake the Asshole channel. Also did a live stream yesterday breaking down this event that occurred just a couple days ago in Kansas City. So I encourage you all to check that out as well if you're interested. But I'm going to be doing a little bit of my own analysis on it just because very passionate about it. I don't like seeing these things happen, on the news and people just believing everything on the fake news. And it's really important to look at it closely. So I'm going to be sharing a video first off by The News is Fake 4. Does a great job. I recommend checking out his channel, subscribing if you wish. He does show a lot of really great edited videos of victims, witnesses. No one's crying, no one's dying. It's the same old script every single time. But without further ado, I'm going to get started, and let me back up a second. I'm not going to be using certain words due to censorship and whatever. So it's going to be shoo ... ting 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 ting. That is going to equal bang bang. Okay, so it's going to be bang bang, pow pow event, whatever. So you guys get what I mean, and we're going to get started on the video here and see some of these witnesses and get your reaction on that. See what you guys think.
Just getting those texts and stuff and trying to reply back to everyone makes it a little bit more real,
Immediately, my dad called me after. The service wasn't great, so he called her.
I just have to stop it right here, right away. Does this young lady here look distressed at all? I don't think so. I'm not buying it. I don't think they were involved in a real bang bang situation. And the one to the right of her as well, not showing much distress, if you will. So, smiles everywhere. It's the same script every single time. And of course, repeating, it made it more real, it made it more real, it made it more real. Okay, just throwing that in your face. I don't know who would actually really say that, but let's continue.
Because she's part of our family. So to know that within 2 minutes, something like that came out to the news where people were calling and texting and making sure that we were okay was definitely something that made it more real. But we're waiting to go to the parking garage to know that something like that's still going on later. It definitely makes it more real and a more surreal experience.
But being able to hear it just made it even more real for us.
Dia and Cameron, I want to send it back to you guys and make sure these girls get home safe. All right.
Once again, look at this. Smile for the camera, everybody. Smiles, smile, smile, smile. Post this on social media. Post this on Facebook. Look at me on the news. They don't seem to care too much about the 43-year-old woman, Lisa Lopez, who was allegedly killed in this event, and the 22 victims who were shot. So that is my opinion. You can have whatever opinion you want, but I'm not buying it. I don't have to buy it. And I can have my opinion. I have a right to that.
Leslie Dallas report.
Initially in my head, I was like, fireworks. But then it clicked. Yeah, I was in the military. So then immediately it clicked. I was like, oh, no, that's gunshots. And I was like, oh, gunshots. And it was just a surreal event.
And a more surreal experience.
And Austin, what was your reaction?
So what they'll do is, if you watch, you can see the patterns. If you watch most of these witnesses, just a few even, you're going to see patterns. They're going to say, use similar language, similar words, like makes it more real, surreal. We need to do something. We need to stop this. On and on. They're just going to say the same things. They're going to also say, many of these witnesses, like a dozen, are saying that, it sounded like it was just fireworks. It's like they're all given the basic same scripts, the same words. Some of these words are terms that can create emotions in the viewers, and for all different reasons, they'll use these words. But just looking at it, looks like they're pretty much on the same page as far as what they're instructed to say.
You said you'd been in the military. Had you, what kicked in your mind? Had you ever thought something like this might happen, that you would be around gunfire?
So, we go through active shooter training every year. We go through active shooter training every year. We go through active shooter training every year. We go through active shooter training every year.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Manny Abarca, and I'm running to be a part of your Missouri Democratic Party's executive board. And I hope you will support me, Manny Abarca, to be the next secretary of the Missouri Democratic Party, so that together we can make the change we want to see.
Manny Abarca, he was at the parade with his daughter when that shooting broke out. Manny, thank you so much for joining us. Glad to see you're safe. I know this has been a tough day for you. First off, how are you and your daughter doing? What's going through your head right now?
Mixed emotions. My daughter is extremely resilient. She reverted back to training, thankfully, from the Kansas City Public Schools. She knew what to do. She was more comforting than I was helpful. So I'm thankful for that bravery. It's just unfortunate that we're seeing this in Kansas City, but not unpredictable.
Okay, so just putting things into perspective, the first thing you said is your daughter reverted to training. A lot of people at home might be like, oh, she's an EMS student or something. Your daughter is 5 years old, and the training
Correct.
You're talking about is the training that she gets at her public school. Is that right?
Correct.
And she was the one comforting you?
She was the one that was extremely calm. She had no problem being quiet. She even, in fact, said, I'm glad we're in the restroom. So she knew what to do. And that is a sad state of society that we're living in if our kindergartners are teaching grown adults what to do in an active situation like this. And it's because...
Very sad indeed. Very sad indeed. And it's pretty interesting. Once again, it doesn't pass the smell test. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying that anything happened. And so you need a 5-year-old to calm you down and make you feel, confident. 5-year-old's perfectly calm. It needs to show the adults what to do in these situations due to their the drills that they go through in school. And I think a little bit of what that is telling you is that these drills work. These drills are necessary. And perhaps they're going to start introducing drills to adults in the workplace, or, this may be spread around to all different industries within the workplace as well. So adults have to get involved in this shit.
Because of the access and ease to guns, that this situation happened, whether it was a long gun, a short gun, a small one, a fat one. It doesn't matter. In this state, we are the worst when it comes to gun policy. And it's because of the access and ease to guns that this situation happened, whether it was a long gun, a short gun, a small one, a fat one. It doesn't matter. In this state, we are the worst when it comes to gun policy. And I hope you will support me, Manny Abarca, to be the next secretary of the Missouri Democratic Party, so that together we can make the change we want to see.
Well, there you go right there. So making a political issue out of it, nothing new there. Once again, great channel, The News is Fake 4. We're going to skip ahead here to a victim, this child here, the mother on the right of the screen. And I want you to notice a couple things. I want you to look very closely at the face here and the reactions of the mother. And this was something Jake said in his live stream last night, which I 100% agree with. Does this look like a mother who's loving and caring for her son who was hit by a bullet, nearly missing his lung. Okay, pay attention to the mother on the right, but also, of course, this is the main subject here, this young boy. And I want to start by saying that there's I have nothing against this young man here. He has been given, in my opinion, lines, and they've probably recorded this several times, and they make edits and cuts to find, the best ones that they can put on the news. So nothing against the children. The fact that they would drag these kids into these events and then put them on the news the day of or the day after they were victims, they were injured, they were hurt, just shows what are these parents thinking to do that to their child, to put them on television to speak about something that is such a traumatic situation. I don't think normal people do that. And like I said, I'm not buying what they're selling me on the news.
I got no sleep last night because the trauma.
Oh, that breaks my heart. I have a 10-year-old at home. That little boy you heard from, also 10 years old. His name is Samuel. He's one of the children who was shot here yesterday. He sat down to share his story with Grant Stevens and also David Medina, who helped to translate for the family.
That's 10-year-old Samuel Arellano. He's smiling for the Chiefs, excited for yesterday's parade, and I wish I could tell you that's how he's going to remember that day, but he says that's not. He was one of the 9 kids shot in yesterday's shooting.
I got no sleep last night because the trauma.
The wound is still fresh.
So I just thought it was interesting. He said, I got no sleep last night because of the trauma. I don't know, guys. You might disagree, but when I was 10 years old, I didn't know what trauma was. That wasn't a word I was using. I wasn't using a word like trauma. Okay?
Because the trauma.
The wound is still fresh on Samuel Arellano's body and his mind.
It could have been inches from my whole future.
Yeah, so, I mean, he's cracking a smile there. It's hard to, stay in character.
Inches from my whole future.
He used what he learned
in saying things like, because it was inches from it was just very close to his lung, right? Could have killed him. So, he's saying that, inches from my future. I mean, these are just not words that children use. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that is not something that a child would normally say.
In school, take cover, but he was hit before he made it behind a trash can.
And then we see people fighting, and then they pull out.
And look at this, the reaction there. It just, it's just kind of like, well, Samuel, I don't know if you were supposed to say that or, you were supposed to say it a little bit differently. Just the reaction. Just doesn't.
And then we see people fighting. And then they pull out a gun and start shooting 3 times. And I dug, and then...
But the face, the eyes, look at the eyes. Look at that.
One of them hit me, felt like getting stabbed.
He says he was trampled in the chaos and that there was such a rush to get out and get home. His family didn't realize he'd actually been shot, not just hit or stepped on.
And did you catch that earlier? You said it felt like getting stabbed. Another line, in my opinion, that was given to him to use in this script. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. If you've never been stabbed before, he would have had to be stabbed to make that statement. How would he know how it felt to be stabbed? So these are just words that are fed to these crisis actors, okay? Those are just not, how can you know what a gunshot feels like? Being stabbed by a knife or whatever, if you don't know, if you've never happened before.
I'll translate for his mom, Abigail, who said when they got to the house, that's when they found the bullet wounds in his rib.
My mom was crying. My dad rushed to call 911. My sister came and...
Which makes no sense. I mean, when did he find out that he had been hit? When he got home? But I thought he said it felt like a knife. So he would have been in a lot of pain. He would have said, oh my gosh, Mom, I'm in so much pain. He would have looked at the area. There would have been blood everywhere. It just doesn't add up. These stories are all the same. They're all phony, in my opinion. I'm not buying it. It doesn't make any sense. They're always saying things that contradict what they previously said, on and on. It's just despicable. And like I said, why you would put a child on here after a day or two, why people are so happy to interview after an event where one lady was murdered and 22 injured, and they're just so willing to go on the news. And then, of course, you don't see any tears. You don't see really any distress at all. You see smiles. You don't see any, like I said, crying, tears, just smiles, duper's delight, on and on. It's a pattern. It's going on every single one of these events. It's all the same pattern.
Told me it was gonna be okay and started crying.
And were you worried at any point about?
Yeah, I was worried. In the ambulance, I was worried that could have ruined my whole future.
Right there. So that is it right there. I mean, does this child look like he was a victim in this event? Okay. Does that look like he's grieving? He says it was trauma. He couldn't sleep last night because of the trauma. And another one in a future one I'm going to show, he said that, he got flashbacks, nightmares. He doesn't seem to be, hurting too much from the situation.
That could have ruined my whole future.
The bullet millimeters away from his lungs.
They told me that it didn't go that deep, so that's when I was like, yes.
Abigail thanks God for allowing her son a second chance at life, but he'll live it with a painful memory.
I'm just going to get flashbacks.
His mom says something that should have been happiness, celebrating our city, turned into violence.
Children's Mercy has a list on their website.
So you guys can see all that right there. I don't need to explain much more.
48 hours after the mass shooting at Kansas City's Super Bowl celebration, 2 unnamed teenagers now facing...
Another thing that they do that's really interesting, Jake brought this up yesterday, was they tend to do these with these videos. They tend to make it kind of grainy and hard to see detail, not very detailed. So it's very hard for just a regular guy like me to go zoom in and look and actually see anybody get shot, hit the ground, or anything like that. So it's pretty much impossible, to really make out what really happened based on the visuals they give us, the video. They're always blurry, really low quality, pretty much kind of like what they do in space, with fake space and everything, the ISS, just really bad quality. And that's, obviously there's a lot of reasons for that. But it's very hard to see what's going on. You need to have those details, and they just always have such low quality in 2024.
48 hours after the mass shooting at Kansas City's Super Bowl celebration, 2 unnamed teenagers now facing gun-related and resisting arrest charges. Juvenile court officials saying additional charges are expected. Wednesday's mass shooting that police say started with a fight left 1 woman dead and 22 injured, most of them children, including 10-year-old Samuel Arellano.
I was happy, and then when it ended, that's when everything happened.
We're going for that 3-piece. The Kansas City area 5th grader went to the parade to see his favorite player, Patrick Mahomes. Minutes after the rally, gunshots rang out. Samuel ran behind a trash can, an instinct honed in active shooter training at school, at one point raising his arm. That's when he felt a sharp pain.
Once again, they mention how effective the active shooting training is at home. They really, really push that, and I don't know. I just see it coming for adults soon. They'll start making adults do it and things like that. I don't know, but they keep mentioning that. It's obviously a big theme. It's something that's been going on for a while, across schools around the country, at least here in the U.S. These drills that they do.
Pain. What did it feel like?
Like something burnt, like a knife burnt with a lighter, stabbed.
A knife burnt with a ladder. A ladder. A lighter. I mean, what? You'd have to experience that. Has he been stabbed before? I don't think so.
Like stabbed. Like someone stabbed me.
And did you know right away, I've been shot?
Yeah.
Samuel ran, trampled in the crowd, leaving a shoe print on his jersey.
So remember the last video, they said they got home and that's where they found out he was hit. And then he just said right there, like, let's just back it up. I mean, he just said,
stab, like someone stabbed me.
And did you know right away, I've been shot?
Yeah.
Did you know right away I've been shot? Yeah, I did know. Right there, done. KO, you're done.
Samuel ran, trampled in the crowd, leaving a shoe print on his jersey, inches from where the bullet grazed his ribs.
We hear 5 juveniles down, I go.
Yep.
I go to it.
Yep.
And that's what we're trained to do.
Doctors Erica Carney and Jennifer Watts were on site treating wounded kids.
How are you responding?
Not well. You know, it's been a couple of nights since I've slept.
A community's pain shared by their championship team. Tonight, Patrick Mahomes and his wife visiting kids in the hospital. And for Samuel, who wants to play for the Chiefs someday, a message for his role models.
Anything you would say to them?
Big fan of them. Stay safe.
Maggie Vespa, NBC News, Kansas City.
Yeah, and they also want to do that too. They take the focus off the fact that these athletes are liars and deceivers. They take the focus off that when they have the this event that happened the other day, where they'll donate, lots of money to the victims. They'll go visit them in the hospitals. Like, oh, what a great guy Patrick Mahomes is. What a great citizen, So it just takes the focus off what they're really doing and makes them out to be the good guys.
Victory rally, a huge moment for some of the Chiefs' youngest fans.
I love Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Isaiah Pacheco, Jerry Sneed, and Rashee Rice.
Big Chiefs fan.
When I woke up, I was excited to go to the parade.
Samuel Ariano, with classes dismissed from Junction Elementary School, came from Kansas City.
I mean, I don't know if this is the father or whatever, who that is, right? He's just like, oh man, this is... Yeah, you guys going to put this on TV? Really? And like I said, I'm not blaming the kid. It's the parents' fault. It's not the kid's fault. Not at all.
Kansas and posted up to the left of the stage with his grandpa, uncle, and cousin.
I just remember hearing the gunshots, and I thought it was like firecrackers.
When we got down, we saw people running everywhere, people crying.
And then I hid behind the trash can, but I tried to cover my...
So this is interesting right here. He hid behind the trash can. Listen very closely to what he has to say.
And then I hid behind the trash can, but I tried to cover my... I tried to cover the sun because you know how it was sunny? Yeah, I tried to cover the sun, but when I covered it, they shot me.
Yeah, make of that what you will. I don't know what that means. You're hiding behind a trash can to shield your eyes from the sun.
Samuel starts complaining, oh, I got shot. I don't know, it was so fast, everything.
I told him, but they said that they stepped on me too. But yeah, they did step on me because the footprint on my Chiefs jersey, there's a footprint, a big foot.
When we got home, they said to check him because he said he got hit. And when they checked him, they saw a gray.
There's the bandage right there. It means it happened. I'll pull that thing off. Let's see the damage. Now you guys have all watched movies, right? Yeah, you guys have all watched movies. So, obviously there's special effects and things like that, but there's a lot of makeup that they do to, if there's a violent incident, they can make it look pretty close to real. So, but, it's not normal that people are smiling and happy a day later, 2 days later. And I understand, hey, there's a relief from the fact that, you're going to be okay. You weren't seriously injured, but other people died. So there's no empathy for those families, for the victims who were killed. Wouldn't it take a few days, a few weeks to just kind of let things settle, and then you can talk about it in public? Well, the thing is, the news, that would be normal. 2 weeks later, a month later, come back to it, interview the witnesses, interview the victims, whatever. But they got to keep this story hot. Right from the start, it happened. They get all the the victims on TV, the witnesses. It creates emotions within the masses. So it creates that. So if it's 2 weeks later, a month later, people are going to forget about it. They're going to be on the next news story. So they want you to always be focused on the news story that is right now, the contemporary, right now, that news. They don't want to bring it back a month later. They want you to be focused on the next event, because I guarantee there's going to be something else in 2 weeks, a month, 2 months from now that's going to be just as big, if not bigger than this. They want you to focus on that.
This bullet right here.
I felt like I got stabbed.
Right away when he got down the car, she took off the shirt and he said, "Oh, Dad, he got shot." She got scared and they called the ambulance right away.
Samuel says the graze is healing, but the moment stays with him.
I mean, look at this. They put him up here, pulling his shirt up. Doesn't exactly have a six pack. Not making fun here. Not making fun. But is this realistic, folks? Would parents do this to their child? I know at that age, I was a little bit pudgier when I was that age, actually. And the last thing I would want to do is lift my shirt up in front of the whole world like that. Maybe that's just me. I don't know. But, there's just seems to be no care in looking out for the child and his feelings as well. So I don't know. Not buying it. I'm not buying the story. I'm not buying the fake news. They can present what they want, but I don't have to believe it.
I've been having nightmares. Last night, I've been having nightmares, flashbacks about what happened. And then I would close my eyes, and then 2 minutes later, I would wake up and start crying.
Do you tell your family? Or?
Yeah, I told my parents because I had to sleep with them.
And his grandfather.
It's the grim realization that now haunts major public events and parades. Should you go or stay away? And what should you do if a crisis breaks out?
I heard pow, pow, pow.
11-year-old Gracie and her mother Amanda Wink were at the Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowl victory parade. 2 of an estimated 1 million people. They fled like everyone else when gunfire erupted.
People were being trampled, just getting knocked over. And then people are telling us to get down on the ground, get down. And so we just went down to the ground with everybody.
The shooting is just the latest.
I want to back this up a little bit. Like I said, it's not the children's fault.
I heard pow, pow, pow.
11-year-old Gracie and her mother Amanda
I'm not
Wink were at
seeing
the
much.
Kansas City.
I'm sorry, I meant to pause that. I'm not seeing a lot of distress here. I'm not seeing any stress lines in the face. I'm not seeing anything of the sort. So here we go.
11-year-old Gracie and her mother Amanda Wink.
I mean, kind of looks like she's just reading something or just remembering lines. I remember when I was a kid and I had some lines maybe in a play in school or something like that. Not a big deal or anything, but I had to remember lines. Maybe you had a presentation you had to do in class, right? And you would present, and you wouldn't exactly be very conversational in your speaking. You'd be kind of robotic. So that's what a lot of this is, kind of robotic speech, very scripted, not the best acting. Poor child.
To quickly help the wounded.
4:35, there was a vigil last night in Kansas City. Investigators think the shooting at the Super Bowl celebration may have started from a personal dispute.
One person was killed, nearly 24 more were hurt, at least half of them were children. ABC's Em Nguyen has the latest from Washington. Em.
Tanya, Terrell police have 2 suspects detained and are working to determine if anyone else was involved. They and the FBI are asking the public to quickly submit online any videos taken of the violence when gunfire erupted.
This morning, authorities say the deadly mass shooting at the end of the Kansas City Chiefs victory parade started as a personal dispute that exploded into violence. 2 juveniles are in custody.
Preliminary investigative findings have shown there was no nexus to terrorism or homegrown violent extremism.
One person
Well, that makes everyone feel a lot better.
Was killed and more than 20 others wounded, where at least half of them were children under the age of 16.
Well, here's the thing. So I guess Kansas City schools actually canceled school that day. This is what I heard on the news. So correct me if I'm wrong, go confirm that, but whatever. I mean, they canceled school so that kids could go to the parade, which, think what you want about that. For a sporting event to cancel school seems a little bit weird to me, but also putting them in danger as well, potentially by doing that, which is kind of interesting because obviously there's been a lot of these on the news, these mass bang events. And that's what everybody's saying, right? Everybody's thinking that on the news, liberals, people who are TV watching news believers, that, it could be you, could happen to you, could happen to you, could happen at any time in a large gathering. They've been so prevalent. We've had so much of this over the last 10 years or so. It's, been exponential. So you have a school where this, I had never really heard of it happen too much before. I had been to a parade many years ago, about 20 years ago. School wasn't canceled. I don't know if they're starting to do that, but it seems like they, assuming this narrative is correct, seems like they're putting kids in danger. Don't you think?
The youngest injured, just 8 years old. One father, Jacob Gooch, was caught in the gunfire.
I see smoke coming out of my ankle, people rushing me. I turned to try to start running, and I collapsed to the ground because obviously I couldn't run, had been shot through my ankle.
His girlfriend and one of his sons also shot, all recovering now from injuries to the feet.
And they love to stick their tongue out at you as well.
And legs.
I couldn't help get our kids, and that killed me. I had to
Once again, no distress, no no tears, obvious. We haven't even been close to seeing tears. You're not seeing any stress lines. It just seems, look at it and see it, folks. See it. No one's going to tell you this. No one, on the news, they're not going to tell you what's going on. You got to use your own two eyes. If you look at this, this looks like, to me, in my opinion, just looks like an actor. It's just acting. It's just like really bad acting.
Sit there and just wonder what was going to happen next.
Two men seen in this video praised by police for taking down one of the suspects.
I didn't hesitate. It was just do it.
The shooting happened despite the presence of more than 800 police officers in the area. First responders were nearby to
Aren't the police so great? There were 800 police officers there and nobody was saved. It actually took this man right here, who's not a police officer. He was just a fan of the Chiefs enjoying the parade. It took him to tackle the one, the criminals here. Okay, he's tackling them. Where are the police? 800 police. It just goes to show how useless police officers are. They just come in and clean up the mess. They're not going to save you. They're not going to prevent any violence or, burglaries or murders. They're just going to come in after, and they're going to take some notes and do an investigation, clean up, and get out of there.
It was just do it.
The shooting happened despite the presence of more than 800 police officers in the area. First responders were nearby to quickly help the wounded. And last night, a vigil for 43-year-old Lisa Lopez Galvan. Many, including her brother, mourning the mother of two and local radio host.
This is another example of a real loving, real human whose life was taken tragically with a senseless act.
It's another thing they'll say a lot too, is they'll say a senseless act, a senseless act, a senseless act. This is apparently the brother of Lisa Lopez Galvan. And I don't know if they don't talk anymore. Well, they certainly wouldn't now, right? But I don't know if they maybe had a falling out, didn't really get along very well, but he doesn't really seem too concerned to me. Once again, it's just my opinion.
Her brother mourning the mother of two and local radio host.
This is another example of a real loving, real human whose life was taken tragically.
And see how his eyebrows raised there when he said whose life was taken?
Loving, real human whose life was taken.
Whose life was taken. Like, oh, no big deal. Like, it's not even his sister. Like, it's just somebody he doesn't know. Basically, that's what it seems like to me. All right, well, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Now, the big question that comes up is, will there be a gun grab? Or are they going to just come and take everybody's take away your Second Amendment and steal all your guns. No, that's not going to happen, I don't think. This is a generational thing. So over many generations, the programming and the exponential rate of these mass bang events, it's going to make society hate guns, the Second Amendment, not feel the need for them anymore. They're too dangerous. There's just too many things going on, too much violence. So people are just going to essentially vote away their ownership rights. That's the plan, in my opinion. It's not to come take them away. It is to condition the population to give away their Second Amendment right. That's what I see. It does take a long time. So this has been going on for decades, but it's really been amped up the last 15 years or so. Give another 10 or 20, it's going to get a little bit closer. Once generations die off, okay, that were believed in gun ownership or didn't have this major aversion towards them, once those people are gone, the younger generations are just going to not see the sense in them, not see the point, not understand why we have the Second Amendment. And there's just not going to be a lot of support for it anymore, folks. So thank you so much for watching, especially if you watched all the way through, of course. And, I look forward to your comments. I hate that these things happen. I hate that people don't look closely and they just fall for everything on a screen. That's why I do this. And I'm going to keep doing it. So that's all there is to say. So everybody, please have a great day. I'll catch you on the next one.